Hello, welcome back to Master of Orion 2. In this game I'm doing Huge Galaxy, playing a more diplomatic and population focused game, so a bit more of a passive game compared to some of the others. Basically just been sitting in the top right corner here. I've encountered 3 races, all of which I have research treaties and trade treaties, so I'm basically raking in the money, getting some good research out of it too. So I'm trying to make the most of these 2 abilities here, Charismatic and Expert Traders. I've also got a leader who adds to the trader. I'm not sure how exactly the calculation works, if there's some kind of compounding effect or if it just calculates them separately, but either way. I'm happy with the results. I'm getting, as you can see there, about 130 BC per turn, so not bad. Now I'm at a little bit of a crossroads as to what I'm going to do. Actually, yeah, I remember now. I'm going to go for planetary gravity generator, so we're going to keep researching. Okay, we now have battle scanner. And I'll go for a neutron blaster, just in the event I want to capture some ships. Neutron blaster makes it very easy to capture ships. Let's get this food production going. Thanks to the weather controller, I now don't need anywhere near as many farmers, so I can put all my guys on other things like industry. I think in the end I probably will just use neutron blaster instead of mass drivers. Okay, counting another race. So right off the bat, Sakra throwing an insult at me. So you are what passes for an emperor in the Cylon Kingdom. You are truly much more pathetic than I ever imagined. So that's not a great way to make friends, if that's your opening statement. But let's take a look at what they've got. Apparently he's an aggressive ecologist, whatever that means. Quite a few technologies here that he has that I don't have. Zortrium armor is pretty scary. Very good weapons, good computer, good cells, good armor. Only class 1 shield though. So pretty scary actually. Let's have an audience. Not really willing to give me anything good. Well, heavy armor is good, but I'm not willing to give up telepathic trading. Let's try and have some treaties. Okay, cool. So the initial amount is quite negative, but that won't last very long. So 51 and 51. Okay, here come the Antarans again. Now it's minus 40 and 33, so it goes up pretty quickly. And now this time the Antarans aren't attacking me, which is interesting. Sorry, I've got a bit of little bit of something in my throat, so I'll just be muting my microphone just to cough a little bit here and there. So please bear with me. So the fact that the Antarans aren't attacking me is a pretty strong sign that, as far as the game is concerned, I'm pretty weak. So, as strange as it sounds, the Antarans attacking you is kind of a good sign. It means you're doing well relative to everyone else. Yes, we've got the very high trade goods here. If I do this, 38. So I'm really raking in the dough. Love to see it. Okay, not much to say there. Let's just continue. Okay, here come the Sakura again. They're saying it's fruitful, which is a bit surprising because so far both of us have only lost money. But it's, yeah, I don't think the game It's not like the game thinks about it and decides whether it's been fruitful. It just throws you that message every once in a while at random, it seems. But it's a nice step up. Like we went from "you're more pathetic than I ever imagined" to "thank you for the fruitful trade treaty" in the space of about 3 turns. So that's progress. Neutron Blaster almost ready. There we go. Now I've got a lot of levels of refinement in physics now, so I'll just demonstrate. There's Mass Driver. It's the same as it was before, but now laser. We have laser takes up a lot less space. I think when I can't remember what it was when we were doing this before. I think maybe cost 7 and space was 8, something like that. But now we can do something like this: heavy mount, auto fire, no range dissipation. Auto fire is extremely good. It does give you a decreased chance to hit, so you might want to pair it with a good computer or a battle scanner. If you've only got your basic electronic computer, then you're going to have a hard time hitting things. So it's all well and good to fire 3 times, but you suffer to hit penalties, so it needs to be paired with something else. The other thing you could do is simply use, when you're designing your race, you can choose beam attack. That'll go well with this. There's also continuous. I don't ever use continuous. Or at least very rarely. So anyway, turns out I'm not really going to go for Mass Driver. At least not for now, maybe later. I'm going to swap out our heavy Mass Drivers for heavy Neutron Blasters. We could get Battle Scanner as well. I don't think that's really necessary. I hope I don't regret that. Got Positronic Computer. And I'm going to swap out my Point Defense Mass Drivers for Point Defense Lasers. As you can see right off the bat, Point Defense Mass Driver is 5. Point Defense Laser is 3. Does less damage then. But I can give it auto fire, so it effectively does more damage. And also no range dissipation. No range dissipation isn't available on many weapons, so if it is there, you might as well get it. And as you can see, it's not actually changing the cost in space, just because of how the multipliers are, how the numbers are coming out in the end there. So this will make it similar to a Mass Driver in that damage is not reduced by range. Auto fire makes it fire 3 times. And really the only downside is that it does 1 to 2 instead of 3 damage. So a little bit weaker, but it does fire 3 times. So it's a better option in my opinion than the Mass Driver. Mass Drivers also have auto firing, but because I don't have any levels of refinement in Mass Drivers, I can't actually equip that just yet. Just going to grab Space Academy here. Space Academy is like very cheap to research, as you can see. It's probably only going to take 1 turn. Or 1 or 2 turns. Just going to build a Space Academy here before this battleship completes. Some farmers here. Terraforming again. Yeah, you gotta be careful here. 1 turn away, so I'll move the guys off. Wait for this to finish. Go back to Planetary Gravity Generator. Ooh, okay, this is a good leader. So now, well, I couldn't have known that this leader would pop up. But in hindsight, had I known somehow, then it would have been better to get microbiotics. Pretty good though. Telepath gives you a defensive spying bonus, so I very much like that. What else does it say? Negates the effects of an enemy's telepathy at the leader's location. So if I was up against Illyrians and I had this leader on a planet, then the Illyrians wouldn't be able to mind control that planet. So I actually, if you watch my other videos, I've come up against this when I'm trying to mind control everything. And when that happens, I end up just exterminating the planet because it's too much hassle to get transports and everything. Sometimes it's okay. Also got Environmentalist and Spiritual Leader. Basically just 10% bonus across the board in the colony. Diplomat as well, kind of nice, I guess. So 100%, I will hire this person. Question is, where is the best place to put them? I think on my home system, and then in my second best system, I will move the other leader. So I'm going to have more pollution now, but that's going to be negated because I've got the, somewhat negated because I've got the morale bonus now, as you can see there, leader bonus plus 10. Pay more taxes, get more food, get more science, so definitely worth it in my opinion. We also have, like, she's also got Environmentalist, but not as good as Huri. Ah yes, the Space Academy. So now I can build the Space Academy. And as you can see there, the crew starting level of the ships built by the colony with the Space Academy is increased by 1. So the default is called green, as in the color green. And then we go regular. Easy to get confused by that because you might think regular is the starting level, but it's actually green. Then it goes regular, veteran, elite, and if you're warlord, you can go up to ultra elite. And then it just gives you better beam attack, beam defense, and missile evasion. So pretty big deal. So doing this right off the bat, the ship will have regular crew, so plus 15 beam attack and beam defense. It also says there, ships stationed in a system gain 1 additional experience point each turn for every Space Academy present in that system. Now, this system has 4 planets. So what I'm going to actually do is build a Space Academy on each planet. It's going to slow down the terraforming a little bit, but I think this is going to be worth it. It's also going to cost a lot to have all those Space Academies, but I think it'll be worth it. Okay, battleship is just about done. I'm going to actually right away get started on another battleship. There he is there, regular crew. Behold. Oh, it's not that good, but it'll do for now. Going to put one of my leaders in there as well. And now we have 105 beam attack, 60 beam defense. And we can use this button here, the fleets button, to mouse over, and you can see there, regular crew, 55 experience. I think when it gets to 150, it goes up to veteran. And I think you get 1 experience per turn, just by existing. The Space Academy will boost this a bit. If I've got 4 Space Academies, I should be getting 5 experience a turn, I think. I'm not sure how combat affects experience. I'm guessing having combats gives you some experience. I don't know how that works, but if we can get it up to 150, it'll make the ship more potent. So veterancy is a really big deal because, like I said, regular, it's 15 and 15. Veteran is 30 and 30. You also get some missile evasion. And then elite is 50 and 50. Ultra elite is 75, 75. So if I can get it up to elite, that's even better. So that's plus 50 beam attack and plus 50 beam defense. And then I think half of the beam defense bonus becomes missile evasion as well. So elite would give plus 50 here, plus 50 here, and then plus 25% missile evasion. It's a pretty big deal. So your ship veterancy is something to take seriously in this game. Gonna get another star base, so we'll have more command points. And I'm actually gonna get rid of my frigates now. They certainly serve their purpose, they serve me well. But it's time to say goodbye to them. I'm just gonna continue building up here. Continue building up, continue researching. Some excess food. With fantastic traders, it's not such a bad thing having excess food, because your excess food actually, I didn't mention this earlier, but it actually converts, I'm not sure where it says it, it's here somewhere. Yeah, here we go. Excess food is sold for 50 cents each, so half a BC. Unless you are a fantastic trader, which doubles this amount. So for every excess food I have, it's an extra 1 BC. Now, given how much BC I have, the extra food isn't really adding that much, but the point is, it's not so bad. Like, it's not like it just disappears and it's a waste. It actually gets converted into something. Okay, we're about to have planetary gravity generator. I'm just going to scrap these. Yeah, so the scouts are veteran because I've had them so long. But time for them to be retired. But they served their purpose. Okay, now I have planetary gravity generator. So this is going to boost everything. Food, well, food, industry, and science. Which is a pretty big deal. Now I'm going to go up to class 3 shield. I'm going to go with anti-gravity harness because I'd like to boost this as a ground combat technology. Just plus 10 for your ground troops. Right now it's pretty lackluster. I've only got plus 10 from the fusion rifle. There's no way to find like a summary, by the way, unless you actually enter a combat. So most of it's here in the ground combat section. I think almost all of it's here, and the only exception is the armor, perhaps. So it adds plus 10. So right now, I'd be plus 10, plus another 10 there, so 20. And I think I have, I have ground combat plus 10 as well, so that's plus 30. If I'm defending, I get another plus 10. I don't really plan on defending though. And I've got low gravity, so that's minus 10. So that gives me 20 net. So not too bad. This guy is going to give me some more as well. It says plus 4 here, but I think that's a lie. Oh no, here we go. Ground troops get 2.5 times this bonus. Okay. I don't think that extra sentence was there before, so this patch, this mod added that in to clarify it, that there's this multiplier. I'm pretty sure. Either that or I just am incapable of reading entire descriptions. I can only read half at a time. Who knows? Alright, here we go again. More Antarans. Cool little cutscene there. I think that same little cutscene is part of the intro, and they just kind of copy-pasted it. So that's some efficiency gains right there, you know. Now I researched gravity generator, but I completely neglected to actually build it. So here we go. And it tells you the gravity, normal G. So let's actually go through. We're going to build one of these on every world. And then everybody can be happy. I'll do it this way, a bit faster. Obviously my homeworld doesn't need one because it's already low gravity. It's a very high priority, of course, getting this thing. Once you remember that you're supposed to build it, of course. There you go. Every single planet besides my homeworld will soon have no gravity penalty. So you can see the effect here on my food. We're at +4. Once I end turn, this will jump up. There you go. So right away you can see the effects it's having. Got some more gravity generators there. And right before my new battleship is completed, I'm going to redesign it. Okay, here we go. Alright, so Sakra has been punished. So it's probably the Intarans who attacked the Sakra as well. Sakra is one of those races where they tend to do really, really well, so they do need some, they need to be attacked early, or they need just bad luck, which is to say those random events happening to them to kind of slow them down a little bit because they're very powerful, thanks to their very large population. Just like me, in fact. Let's take a look. Let's compare our populations. So Nolan have been attacked, but as you can see, Sakra are ahead of me. So I've got some competition out there. With buildings. I'm doing pretty good with buildings now. Fleet went up a little bit because of the battleship. And then tech, I'm still lagging a bit there. Okay. Actually, I'm just going to complete this. I'll wait for the class 3 shield to finish, and then I'll redesign them. Okay, cool. The Trilarians want to talk. So he wants weather control system. So that wouldn't be like really bad for me if they got that. It's not a military technology, but it would boost the food production on all their planets. Now, unfortunately, you can't actually ask for multiple technologies. I think that might be too complicated to build into the computer's AI. But if I was to give him this, I would need multiple technologies as a compensation. So yeah, nothing there. Like all the stuff, some of the stuff is kind of useful. So deuterium fuel cells would be nice. A spaceport, kind of nice. That's just more money. Soil enrichment essentially is half of the weather control system, except it has no maintenance cost. I know it doesn't tell you that there, but trust me. Dauntless guidance system, nice one. That's a nice to have. Pollution processor, also very nice to have. Fusion drive as well. Fusion beam, like a lot of this stuff is nice, but not worth weather control system, in my opinion. Got some spies now. Ooh, spotted an enemy fleet. Well, not an enemy as such, but a fleet that doesn't belong to us. I think the Nolams are about to be defeated, which kind of sucks for them. I've only got standard fuel cells, so I can't do anything. Even if I wanted to, I can't help them. I could make an alliance. I'll just show you. Maybe I can get some technology out of them before they die. So alliance. Allies also get to use each other's colonies for range purposes. So one thing you can actually do with an alliance, you can make an alliance with a weaker race. So I generally wouldn't recommend making an alliance with a really strong race. or maybe in some circumstances that'd be okay, but the weaker race won't stab you in the back, or at least they probably won't. On impossible difficulty, anything's possible. Except winning, of course, right? Because it's impossible. Anyway, jokes aside, I could make an alliance with them in order to access more of the galaxy, access more races. So if I access more races, I could make more treaties. Problem is though, if I do make an alliance with them, they will demand that I go to war with whoever they're at war with. And what the computer tend to do is go to war with each other for like 5 turns, and then they go to peace. So they might start a war, demand you declare war as well, but then they'll make peace. And then that leaves you just at war with this race that you didn't have any beef with. So, wouldn't recommend it. And if you don't accept their demand to go to war, then they'll break the alliance, and then I guess you're back to square one. Problem is though, if you had other treaties, they'll probably break the other treaties as well, so not a lot of benefit really. Let's fix this. Now the problem is too much food. But that's a good problem to have. What I might actually do is share weather controller with everyone, just to boost my attack a little bit. We'll see what everyone is offering first though. What I like to do is, if I've got a key technology that all the computer want, I won't just exchange it with one race, I'll exchange it with all of them simultaneously. That way they can't sell it to each other or exchange it with each other. So I get maximum benefit essentially. Heavy armor. Yeah, this stuff isn't really that good. Again, a lot of these are nice to haves, but nothing groundbreaking. The problem with the Sakra is their massive population, and accordingly they're going to have a massive fleet. Yeah, Nolams I think are they're knocking on death's door right now. Okay, we've got class 3 shot. I'm going to get a better drive now. Get fusion bomb first, why not? Go ahead, add the shield. And if the Nolams get wiped out, I won't have to worry about their plus 50 beam defense, which is kind of nice. Now what I can do here, I'll go back to mash drivers. So mash driver gets this one, armor piercing. Essentially armor piercing just ignores armor. But there's exceptions, of course. Cannot penetrate Zentronium armor and heavy armor. So if they've got heavy armor, then this just doesn't do anything. So you just wasted all that. Wasted space and cost just for an ability which doesn't do anything. That won't be the case here though. So this ship is pretty good. It does need a better drive, but it's otherwise pretty good. I'm going to research a better drive now though. Continue terraforming, of course. And housing. Almost all my planets are Terran now. And I'll just get Iron Drive for now. What I'll actually do is try to optimize my population a little bit here. Don't want to get too fancy with this. Omicron Prime, I think. Now, when you're transporting colonists, the freighters essentially, I didn't explain this earlier, but the freighters will use your drive to travel to the other star. So, for example, this guy's a navigator, so he's not a good example. As you can see there, it will take 2 turns to reach Sadir. That also means that the freighters will take 2 turns to reach it. Now, if it's the same star, if it's other planets within the same star, they actually will travel instantly. So something to, as you can see, they just move over to the other planet instantly. So it's you've got quite a bit more flexibility there with the way the freighters work when it's within the one system. But essentially what I'm going to do is move guys from these planets which are maxed out so that the cloning center will kick back in, and there it is there, over 100 population growth. So instead of I don't know, 200k per turn, or let's say 250, about 125 per planet, instead of 250 across the 4 planets, now it's a good 500, something like that. So I'm just maximizing the population growth. Probably should have done that a while ago, but I didn't think of it. Just take a look here, see if there's any planets which are maxed out. There we go. I don't think you have to optimize this stuff too much, but I am, to be perfectly honest, I am a little bit concerned about the progress of the Sakra. As you can see, they have many stars. Although I do recall there was a GNN report which said that the Bulrathi had 10 systems. So we'll probably run into them eventually. I'm going to get Ion Drive, and then I'm going to go up to Iridium fuel cells. Ooh, look at this. 4 turns away. So that's very bad. Hopefully I'm going to just kind of scramble here. So this is a time when it's beneficial to have lots of money. But what that essentially means is they're going to attack, because you don't send in 6 battleships, a destroyer, and 8 transports if you're just trying to scout, see what's here. So it's right before my Ion Drive research, unfortunately. So it's going to take my ships still 4 turns to reach. But it's 10 parsecs away, and this is 5 parsecs away. This guy is a navigator. So when this is done, I should be able to move here in 1 turn, and then there in 1 turn. Which means that I'll be able to hit, I think, two of the planets. Hopefully my defenses are enough to pop some of these battleships. They do have Zortrium armor. Gravitron beam. Class 1 shield. Only electronic computer though, so that gives me some hope. Because that's really bad. Electronic computer is just the starting computer. So these guys, they're probably going to mostly be firing missiles at me. They're best, yeah, they've got pulse and missiles, so, and anti-matter torpedo. So probably not a lot of beam weapons, but lots of, they'll be very tanky. They've got Zortrium armor and lots of missiles. So what we're going to do, this is why it's good to have tons of money, because now I can just buy battleships outright, and it was a good thing I built star bases when I did. Don't have space academies though, unfortunately. Probably should have built those. What we're going to do is buy some battleships outright. That one's already building the starbase. Don't know if I'll be able to buy both of these. Probably not. Okay. Yeah, I didn't think so. So I'm going to design a cruiser now instead. I should be able to afford to buy the cruiser. It's going to have the same weapon configuration as the battleship, but obviously just with less weapons. So the idea here, and the way I design my ships is that they're fairly universal, so I don't have to switch it up too much. But one of the cool things about this game is that if you understand what kind of weapons and things that your opponents are using, you can actually tailor the ship according to whatever it is they're using. So I'm just going to check one more time before I build this. Pretty confident though that this should be pretty effective. Oh, he's also got bomber bays and fighter bays, okay. Not too worried about those. Anti-matter torpedo, it is kind of annoying. You can't destroy these. So I'm going to be, at the start of the battle, I'm going to scan the ships, see what weapons they have, and then prioritize the targets accordingly. Yeah, Zortri Mama. He's going to have lots of levels of refinement. So I think it's going to be pulse and missiles and these fighters primarily. So what I'm going to do, pretty much the same design. But yeah, I'm going to be relying on these mass drivers to destroy all the projectiles coming at me, and there will be a great many. Okay, there goes all my money. These guys can't get into the combat just yet, unfortunately. Once I got that ion drive though, I should be okay. It'll take me 2 turns to get there. But let's see what happens. Okay, they didn't attack. Now we have ion drive. I think perhaps because of the ships I produced, they decided to, like they weren't going to be able to beat me. So they stood down, which is kind of nice. So now I want iridium fuel cells, because I'm going to counter-attack. I'm not going to let this aggression go unpunished. There it is there, so you got to be careful of this. Cylon and human are now at war, so even it's kind of annoying really. It'd be nice if sometimes it pops up the diplomacy screen and they tell you, you know, we hate you and now we're going to kill you, something like that. And sometimes it doesn't do that. It does this kind of surprise attack thing. So you might think, well, he went there to attack with the intention of attacking, but he didn't attack and therefore everything's fine. We're not at war. But as you can see, Cylon and human are now at war. So it's kind of like this subtle, by the way, like a bit of an FYI, just a side note. By the way, you're actually at war now. So it's a little bit funny how the game works like that, but it is what it is. Now, okay, so that's so all those centuries of building up money actually was quite beneficial in the end. Now I have ion drive. I've also got negative command points. I don't mind though, because I've got so much money, so it doesn't matter. Now I've got ion drive, so this should be able to get there in 1 turn. Just destroy that transport, first casualty. And we can't even counterattack because I'm going to have to get this, I think, subspace communications. We can't counterattack because our fuel cells are so impotent that, you know, 8 parsecs away, which is why I want to get this iridium. So as you can see, like now we're at war, they hate me. No warning, no discussion, no nothing, just it's time for you to die. And there they are with a massive fleet. So that's the way the computer roll in this game. It's pretty funny in my opinion. Better build a starbase over here. But there you go. So you gotta be ready for that. As you could see, I was pretty ready for it because I knew it was coming. I just didn't know when and where. But the thing is, this is actually really bad for them because now I'm going to kill them. Because they're basically of no use to me now. Now that they've broken the treaties, and obviously you know, having tried to attack me like that. Now I'm going to take them out. We've gone for okay. I can get some pollution processes now. Finally, this will cut down the pollution. Gonna get subspace communications just to sort out this command point thing. So I was ready for them defensively, but I'm not ready to attack them. So what I'm actually going to do is split up some of my ships here, because they might try to come in from this angle. Now, if you want to better insulate yourself from that sort of thing, one of the things you can get, the technologies, the scanner technologies. So right now I have the worst one in the game. If you know what the computer are going to do, you don't really need a better one. But it's still good to have. As you can see, I've just got the basic one. This is the one you start with, which is Space Scanner. But there's much better ones out there, so let's take a look. Oh, they've only got the basic one as well. Surely one of these guys has a better one. So the next best one is Tachyon. So as you can see there, it's an improvement on the basic one. So the basic one is 1 parsec. And then larger ships can be detected 1 parsec further per size class. So if you got a big fleet coming at you, consisting of battleships and smaller ships, you'll detect the battleships first. And then as the fleet gets closer, you'll start to detect the smaller ships. So it looks like the fleet is growing as it's approaching you, but it's really just because you're detecting the bigger ships first. So it's actually pretty cool like that. Tachyon, the difference there, base detection range is 3 parsecs. It also reduces missile evasion, apparently. I don't know if I'm going to assume that works as explained, but I can't really see it in action, you know. And then neutron scanner. So the thing which is getting incrementally better is the base detection range, as well as the reducing the enemy ship missile evasion. So Trilarians have neutron scanner, so they'll be able to see pretty deep. So if I had neutron scanner, I would have been able to spot those ships well before they showed up. I'm pretty sure, unless I wasn't paying attention, I could only spot them when they were 1 turn away, which is really not ideal. You have to be in position, have everything ready before they get before you even see them. Okay, here's the Nolums. Still wants a weather control system. Seems to be the popular technology. I'd really like to get survival pods, because this means in combat, if I lose my ships with leaders, the officers will still survive. But I'm not willing to give up, well, anything really. I can be a little bit difficult to negotiate with. Yeah, see? Class 3 shield, that's definitely not a good trade. And the thing is, I don't mind giving Class 3 shield to Nolums, because because they're about to die anyway. But they might then go and give it to the humans. So it's just not in my best interest to hand out this stuff. Heavy armor for fighter garrison, interesting. Don't need deuterium fuel cells because I'm going to get iridium fuel cells shortly. Might be nice to have the better scanner actually. Let's see what they want for it. Okay, weather control system. I'm going to spy on the humans now as well because I think their defensive spying is terrible. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to kick into some production. I'm going to get a lot of spies, and I'm going to milk the humans for their technology. Because, I'll show you, they don't have any racial spying bonuses, but they have democracy. So this is the big weakness of democracy. Defensive agents are penalized -10. So they're at -10 right off the bat. Then they have neural scanner, so that brings them up to 0. But I'm at 15. So if I've got a bunch of spies there, I'll be getting a lot of technologies. I could probably get these two. I've actually got 3 spying technologies right in front of me. I've got cyber security link, psionics, and stealth suit. I could get all 3 of those and just build like 30 spies and pretty much just milk every single one of these technologies. So that's one play I could do. I think I might do that because I don't normally do stuff like that. But for the purposes of this video, I think that'll make it a bit more interesting. You can show how you can really abuse a particular weakness. I'm just going to get these star bases happening now because I'm worried that a huge fleet is going to just appear. It's going to be heading for one of these. And I don't want it to show up before I have my defenses ready. Ooh, wow, okay. So again, Nolums are lucky. That's one of their racial abilities. They've got class 3 shield, no big deal there, but they might sell it to others. So I'm a bit worried about that. But they also got Disruptor, which is pretty crazy. So that's really bad for me. Because they're probably going to trade it to the other races. So I could be fighting against very lackluster weaponry. Or, well, not lackluster, but weaponry which is the same as mine. And then all of a sudden they have Disruptor Cannon. Let's see if I can... Don't think I could ask them for it. That'd be very nice to have though. So Disruptor Cannon is quite deep in the tech tree. It's all the way down here. Disruptor Cannon. So that's a big jump. I'm a bit surprised that it gave him something so good. But before I know it, I think these other guys might just all of a sudden have it. So I've got to get subspace communications, then I'll get Iridium fuel cells. More Antarans. There we go, already starting to steal technology. So Merzar will be my kind of launching pad, my invasion. There you go. Right away, Trilarians have Disruptor Cannon. Oh, Sakra have Plasma Cannon. Wow. So I think I'm falling a little bit behind in the tech. And I'm guessing the humans are falling behind as well, which is why they decided to attack me. They kind of saw me as a bit of a weak and easy pick-off have subspace communications. Unfortunately, I have to design the ships one more time, just for optimization here. Just bear with me. Just give them some more weapons. This is because I've got a level of refinement in physics, so now the neutron blaster costs us slightly less. Yep, the moment I refit my ships, the computer sensed that, and now they're on their way. So you gotta be sure that you can refit the ships quickly, because otherwise they just know. They just know where you are and what you're doing at all times. Now, unfortunately for them, these five battleships, I am ready. I'm about to be ready, and I'm gonna hopefully capture some of these. 3 battleships. Okay, first combat of the game. Took a while, but we got there. No leaders. So you can mouse over these and you'll see, like my ship has here, this L means there's a leader on board. Now, let's take a look. So they've got bombers. Still only got electronic computer. These might be different, by the way, just because they look the same and have the same name. It doesn't mean they're the same configuration. But it looks like they are all identical. They have a tractor beam as well, so that's rather unfortunate for me. Tractor beams will slow your ships down and eventually stop them. So he's got 5 battleships, 1 tractor beam each. So it's 5 tractor beams. So he'll be able to immobilize one of my battleships if he focuses all the tractor beams on a single ship. Meanwhile, these bombers, these aren't going to do anything. My point defense mass drivers will just take them out in one shot, basically. And other than that, he's got some neutron blasters. He's got, yeah, this guy here, he's veteran, so I'll probably take him out first. But this CO is continuous. So this neutron blaster will have 50 beam attack, or plus 50. So 25 there, 25 there, and then, oh, this already incorporates the electronic computer, so essentially 65 beam attack against my, what do I have? Yeah, they've all got different stats. This one's green crew, because I didn't have the Space Academy. So he's only 65 beam defense. So all these ships will probably target this guy, because he's got the lowest beam defense. And then as we get closer, these tractor beams will activate and slow me down. So I'm a little bit worried about that. Zortrium armor as well, 200, 200. So pretty tanky. My beam attack is quite good. All 3 of my ships have different stats. 80 beam defense there. These other ones, 65. Now, these point defense mass drivers will also be good. These will do 3 damage each, but it's auto firing, so 9 damage each, so 23. But then he's got class 1 shield. So the way the shields work in this game is that there's 2 effects. I explained this in the other videos, so but I'll just explain it again quickly. It absorbs damage, as you can see there, 60 damage blocked, which is what these 4 arcs are. Each of these is 60 health, basically, and it regenerates each turn. But not only that, it actually reduces the damage of each shot. As long as the shield generator is active, you could have all the shields down, but as long as the shield generator is active, it'll still reduce shots, or the damage of shots. So for this thing, class 1, my point defense mass driver does 3 damage, minus 1, so 2 damage. So point blank range, if I hit all my shots, this will be 23 times 3, because of auto fire, times 2. So this is like 120 damage or something. So that's actually going to be pretty devastating against, because he's like a class 1 shield. No specials, not even battle pods, which is pretty surprising. So what I'm going to do is use the wait function, and then I'm going to try and move up. Yeah, it's just that tractor beam that's got me worried. I think I'm going to have to take out a few of these. I'm going to have to get close to really maximize it though. But first I'm going to wait, let them fire all their bombers at me, take out the bombers, and I'm basically going to sit back for a little bit, just to soften them up a little bit, and then I'll move in for the kills. Anyway, so we'll go wait. So as you can see, their beams they're just not hitting, that's why they're not doing any damage. They also moved up, so they know they have to get in closer, because at this rate, they'll never actually destroy me. So I have, I guess you could call it the range advantage. So if I just sit back, I'm the one who wins. But they're not just gonna let me do that. That's why they're moving up. Now, these animations here, I know this is we're almost into the late game now, so the combat, this particular combat is a bit more complex than the ones at the start of the game. It starts off quite simple and then it gets more complex as it goes on, as you'd probably expect. So we're right into the mid game here. If you do want to see the early game combat, if you check out my other video, I just kind of started attacking people right off the bat. But here we go. So you can see there's animations on these bombers here. And that's just a symbol, by the way. Even though there's 2 little ships, it's actually 8 bombers. So if you see down the bottom right, it says 8 bombers. So don't think that this is just 2, it's actually 8. I think each one of these represents 4, of course. Or between 1 and 4. So if I destroy 3 of them, there'll be 5, but it will still have 2 little ships. But those little thruster animations mean that this is the ship that's being targeted. The selected ship is the one that's being targeted. Which means if I move here, these are going to actually close to my battleship. They won't actually hit because there's this thing called missile warning. Stops the ship's movement right before a missile or fighter impacts on the ship. There's also a few other options here. Show legal moves. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. You can show the shield arcs as well. You can display a grid. I think that looks kind of... just doesn't look very nice, so I'm going to not play with that. Also got fast animations. Yeah, that one's pretty self-explanatory. So I'm going to move up, and I'm going to take these bombers out. As you can see, they moved up. Got a missile warning now. I can continue moving. It's not going to let me... I'm clicking now, but it's not going to let me move there because of the missile warning. So I can either like stop, or I can shoot these. As you can see, if I mouse over, the point defense mass drivers are highlighted down the bottom left. That means the mass drivers will fire if I click. The neutron blasters can't target these because they're heavy neutron blasters. The heavy modification means you can't target projectiles, including bombers in this case. So I'm going to go ahead and shoot this. As you can see, it just took them out in one shot. And I've got some mesh drivers left. So in this game it doesn't overkill. It'll actually calculate however many weapons you need to destroy it. And in this case, I had 23, got 7 left. So it took 16 shots, or 16 of these mass drivers to kill that. And then of course next round this will recharge back to 23. So I'm going to use my remaining shots to shoot something else. Okay, that was pretty lackluster, but that'll do. Now I said I would target the veteran ship first, but I'm actually going to change my mind. I'm going to target these other ones with the heavy neutron blasters. So 120 damage. That first number, the blue number, is the shield absorbing 20 damage. And then the red number, or orange number, is the damage to the ship itself. So there was 120. Shield arc has gone down, so that's the 20 there. As you can see, no shield arc on this guy anymore. And then that blue bar down the bottom right, or if I scan it, we can see he's now at 80 out of 200 armor. Because I used a neutron blaster. This is a special feature of neutron blaster. Killed off a lot of the marines as well. So it does kills 1 marine for every 5 damage. So no marines left on that ship, which means, or there's 1 left. But it means if I immobilize this ship, then I can capture it easily because my ones still have 20 marines. They have neutron blasters as well though, so I might lose marines in the same fashion. So I'm done with that ship now. Move up with these other ones. Here we go again. Now this time I'm going to demonstrate something else. We've got the missile warning, but point defense actually will fire automatically in defense against projectiles when they can. So the reason I'm going to do that is because I want the distance to be the absolute minimum, so I suffer the smallest 2-hit penalty. So I click this and then I move forward. There we go. So pretty much the same result, but it was worth a try to see if I'd get more mass drivers out of that. Use my remaining mass drivers to shoot something. I'm going to focus down as many of these battleships as fast as possible. Okay, very good result there. What happened there was the damage. The ship's drive, once you're through the armor, so that blue bar, once you get through the armor, which is that blue bar, this here, 136 armor, you start to damage either the structure or the internal systems of the ship. So you can actually destroy the weapons and shields and things on a ship and specials. In that case, the drive got destroyed. And when that happens, the ship just explodes like that. Very dangerous explosion. It's one of the reasons why I always take reinforced hull. So my ship drives have 45 health, whereas theirs only have 15. Because reinforced hull triples the drive health. So that explosion's not going to happen as often with my ships. Because as you could see, that was quite devastating. Like the explosion did 64 damage to this guy and 97 damage to this guy. It also took out a bunch of the bombers. So very violent, dangerous explosion. So that's gonna... So far so good. I'm basically gonna just do that a couple more times. They'll hit me with their tractor beams, but considering how fast my ships kill their ships, I don't think it's going to be a problem. Now, because I've got... Oh, I didn't explain this. I've got more beam attack. So to determine who goes first, this game has an initiative system. I think you can turn it off and it's just the attacker goes first, something like that, but I'm playing with it on. And initiative is your combat speed plus your beam attack divided by 10. So that's all. They're not multiples of 10. But if you had 100 beam attack and then 10 combat speed, your initiative would be 20. Now I've got a lot more beam attack than their ships, so my ships have higher initiative. Now the relevance of that, obviously I get to go first, but I waited. But it means now they've moved up, then I close the gap, and when my other ship is done, I'll actually get to move again immediately. So I'm essentially getting 2 shots, which is extremely good. And I'm going to use those 2 shots to kill off most of these. Now here, if I click on the weapons, they change color. Yellow means it's not going to fire if it can fire the next time I click. Red means it'll never fire no matter how often I click. See, I'm clicking on this ship now, nothing's happening. And then one exception is, I think it explains it here. Point defense weapons will still fire on missiles before they impact, and of course bombers and things. So you can actually turn off your point defense like that, and then any missiles or whatever fired at you will these will still fire in defense. So I'm gonna fire the mass drivers first. Okay, not as much damage as I was expecting. He does have pretty good beam defense though. Forgot, yeah, this one's the veteran. Okay, well I'm just gonna shoot him now with the heavy neutron blast to see what happens. Okay, very nice. And now that was the end of the round. I just pressed done. I pressed D on the keyboard. That's the hotkey for it. I'm gonna move up. Pause on my mass drivers. Sorry, my neutron blasters again. Fire just for the mass drivers. There we go. So now he's immobile because his ship drive has taken enough damage. As you can see, his ship is basically falling apart. It's about to explode. As you can see down the bottom right there, all the bars have basically gone to zero. Yellow is internal systems, by the way, and red is structure. 26 out of 200 structure. He's immobile because his ship drive has taken 10 damage, so the combat speed's gone down to zero. His computer's still going, it's 1 out of 7. Shield generator's still going, 4 out of 7. And he's actually losing weapons as well. Like this guy, he's actually lost his tractor beam. So as you can see, this is the... If I look at a different ship, you can see how many weapons he had at the beginning. Now he's down to just this. So the ship is a death trap right now. You don't want to be on it. But what I'm going to do is move right up, and then I'm going to use the board function to capture this. I could actually send... I'm just going to send one Marine actually, because I usually just do the maximum because I don't think about it. But this time I'm thinking about it more deeply. I'm going to just send one Marine because there's the bonuses there. There were no Marines on board. Well, now there's a Marine. That's the Marine I sent over. So I had 20, now I'm down to 19. So he moved over there, capture the ship. And if it survives the battle, I can actually use it. If it survives, which it might not. So I'm just going to shoot this other stuff. Basically going to do the same thing. So as you can see, my ships are a fair bit better than their ships. So that green thing is the tractor beam. So if I compare this to this, the drive is still at full health, but his combat speed has reduced from 10 to 5. That also has a corresponding decrease in his beam defense. Now it takes one tractor beam per size class of ship. Frigates are 1, destroyers are 2, cruisers are 3, battleships are 4. So he would need 4 tractor beams to stop me, like to stop me completely. But in the meantime, it's going to have that effect of reducing my beam defense. I don't think it's going to matter, but yeah, this was the one thing I was worried about. Now I'm going to just basically try to finish off these ships. Hopefully this one won't explode. Okay, there you go. So the explosion took out the ship I captured, which is rather unfortunate. So all their ships insist on exploding. There we go. So pretty straightforward battle, that one. At least in terms of the result. All the complexities of the tactical combat in this game are still present, of course. But my ships are quite superior to theirs, as you can see. I also had leaders whereas they didn't, so that gives me a big bonus. Gonna keep pumping these spies. I'm gonna keep building transports until I have iridium fuel cells as well. Oh, got a bunch of transports. Okay, they're dead. if a non-combat ship is attacked when it doesn't have an escort, then it instantly is destroyed. And a transport counts as a non-combat ship, believe it or not. Okay, there we go. Got that thing, whatever it was. Iridium fuel cells. Now I'm just gonna see how many of these races have disruptor. Okay, looks like they all do, except maybe the humans. Because what I was actually gonna do, I didn't have the technology to attack it. Now it's too late. But I was actually gonna kill off the Nolums to stop them from sharing disruptor cannon to everyone. It's too late now though. They've shared it with everyone. So I'm still getting something out of the treaties with them, so that's kind of nice. But I would have preferred that they didn't just go ahead and sell that to everyone, because I only have titanium armor. So if I get into combat with these other races, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. So I've got a bit of a fleet now. Now it's time to go attack. Just going to keep building transports out of these places. There's the transport there, no big deal. So this will be... Oh, I didn't explain as well, sorry. I'm skipping over a lot of stuff just because there's a lot going on. This was a critical technology I researched. Subspace communications. It allows you to issue orders to ships that are in hyperspace. Like normally you can't do that. Once the ship is in hyperspace, that's it. It can't be redirected. So I'll give you an example. Maybe, okay, I can because I've got subspace. So ETA 1 there, but I can tell them to go somewhere else. So you can't actually do that unless you have this technology. Now the main reason I got it though, increases the command points given by starbases by 2. So we see here, I'm getting an extra 20 command points from subspace communications because I've got a lot of star bases. All these planets have star bases, so I've got pretty good infrastructure, and then having this just really boosted it. So that allowed me to really increase the size of my fleet. Okay, let's see what they have. Starbase, alright. Let's see what it has. It's got plasma cannons. It's also got transporters. This is pretty dangerous, but it has no other specials at all, which is pretty shocking. At this point in the game, for its only special to be transporters is very odd. Should have reinforced hull, and ECM jammer, and heavy armor, that sort of thing. Maybe a battle scanner. Doesn't have any of that. So even though it's got these super powerful weapons, it's not actually going to do any damage to me, as I'll show you in a sec. Let's see what happens. Yep, because it can't actually hit me, because it's only got 50 beam attack. So I can just sit back here and just shoot at it, because it has no beam defense, has -5 beam defense because it's a starbase, and I can just chip away at it until it blows up. And that's that. Now we can start invading. I can bombard as well, so this is the planet invasion screen. In the other video there was an option here, just mind control. You just click that and then the planet is yours. But now I'm playing well, I'm not playing telepathic, so I have to do things the old-fashioned way. You can bombard to kill off maybe some of the colonists, because if there's too many colonists then the planet might rebel. In this case it's only 3, so it's fine. 4 infantry as well, so it'd be nice if well, if I was involved in this mod, maybe I would have suggested perhaps if there was a button you could click to bring up a summary of what your ground combat was versus their ground combat, and then you would know whether you want to attack, but it just tells you the infantry and then that's it. So you're kind of on your own. You just have to know, I guess. But we saw from that previous combat that my ground combat was pretty good. Now, even though it's called ground combat, it applies to Marines in space. So, yeah, this game's a little bit funny. So we're going to invade. Yeah, and as you can see, my infantry are quite good, especially because I've got this this guy. They just kind of run at the center. I usually just click to to instantly resolve this, but you know, you can watch the guys just run at each other. Interstellar technology, and it's still just a wave of guys just running at each other, shooting rifles, which is pretty funny. Okay, here we go. These guys, I think, are going to be the final boss. Gonna keep pumping those spies. These planets are gonna pump transports. Gonna use the repeat build function so it doesn't stop. And now we have this question presented. Annihilate them. That's if you want to replace them with your own people. So this actually might be a good idea. Because if I don't annihilate them, they might actually rebel back to their original race. So these are Nolums. So if they did rebel, they wouldn't go back to the humans who occupied this planet before. They'll actually go back to the Nolums. I'm not going to do it though because these guys, you know, maybe they're not so bad. On the other hand, I'm subterranean, so maybe I probably should have done that. Oh well, too late now. So these are conquered Nolums. Ooh, big Trilarian fleet going there. Looks like everyone's just trying to... Okay, they're at war with the Sakra now. Oh, they're at war with the humans, okay. So the Trilarian were going there to attack the humans. Can I reach this? Yes, I can. But now I'm there, so they're a little bit too slow. Big Trilarian fleet. Alright, so this is the voting. There's two other races I haven't encountered, so I can see them there. That's Klakons, and this is Illyrians. And these are in order of who's strongest or weakest, by the way. So the two strongest races are down here. I think it's in order by population. So the two most populous races are down here. So me and Sakra, of course. And then the two races with the smallest populations are Illyrian and Nolan. So the High Council has convened to elect one leader to be the Emperor of the Galaxy. So it's me and a Sakra. Ooh, interesting. Okay, so Bull Rathi actually, right off the bat, voted for me, which is interesting because they just sent me a message saying that I suck, basically. But they must hate the Sakra, so that's why they're voting for me. And these number of votes, this is based on population. I don't know what the calculation is. Maybe it's like 1 for every 5 population, something like that. So this is 78 in total. That's like the entire population of the galaxy. Not 78 people, but 78 times 5 or whatever it is. So right off the bat, Bill Rathi votes for me, so I got 14. Now the humans, on the other hand, are the opposite in terms of sentiment with the Bill Rathi. They actually are at war with me, so they're voting for the other guy. Trilarians like me for some reason. That's kind of nice, probably because of the very lucrative deal that we've had all this time. Klakons just abstain, okay. The Illyrians abstain. And then the Nolums also like me. Now, Sakra aren't going to vote for me, of course, but I think they do like me. And you actually get to vote. The candidates get to vote as well. So Sakra, he votes for himself, 17 votes, and then I've got 16 votes. So I think his population is just a tiny bit bigger than mine. So I'm going to vote for myself. So I've got 40, he's got 26. Neither leader has 2/3 majority. There you go. So this is kind of the diplomatic victory in this game. if you get the 2/3 majority, you get the computer computer opponent to vote for you, then you'll just instantly win the game. Like if you've got 2/3 majority, you just instantly win, which is to say you've achieved a diplomatic victory. It does ask at the end, after the votes are cast, whether you accept the ruling, and if you say no, then all of the computer opponents, they all merge together to the strongest one, and like the strongest one just takes it. They just instantly get all their stuff, and it says like you'll feel the wrath of the new empire or something like that. So you can actually reject your own election, which is kind of funny. But anyway, that's probably going to be the outcome of most of those voting sessions. I don't know why this fleet is still hanging around Oki. Hopefully it's not too much longer. I don't mind taking my time though with the humans, because like I said, I'm going to really milk all this technology, as much of it as I can, and I'm getting more spying technologies to help with that. Okay, they left, that's good. So I'll continue the assault. I'm just going to buy some defenses when the time comes. Alright, GNN. Okay, Nolems are now defeated. It's just a matter of time, I think. The Sakura were just... Sakura and Trilarian, I think it was. Going to get rid of this. Just to save on the maintenance. Probably not necessary, but I don't think I'm going to use it. And now I'm actually out of command points. So the way transports work is they take up a command point, so that's a pretty big deal. Once they unload their marines though, they disappear. So it's, yeah, apologies, I didn't explain this earlier. They're like a one-use sort of ship. It's not a case of you build the transport, then you pick up the marines you have at home, and you take them in like you would in, say, a game of StarCraft. Doesn't work that way in this game. It's a one-off use, which is kind of weird, but that's what they went with. It says here, they do not engage in combat, will be destroyed when attacked. Okay, fine. Once used, they are dismantled. Can only be built on planets with a marine barracks. So, bit of a funny system that they come up with here for this, but that's what they went with. Just going to buy that. So right now I have 21 transports. So that's really taking up my command points there. Now we've reached Vega. Ooh, interesting. Can I just take this planet first, quick? Should be able to take that fairly easily, yep. No opposition there. Now we've got sub-security link. I'm going to get stealth suit, then I'm going to get psionics, and we'll hopefully get as many of these technologies as possible. Again, maybe I should... Ooh, okay. Wasn't expecting them to get there so fast, but I'm probably going to lose that planet now, which is... I don't really care too much. Starbase. You know what, I'm going to just go ahead and buy this for fun, to see if the Starbase and Fighter Garrison can beat 6 of their battleships. I also probably should be annihilating these planets, because my race is subterranean. Oh, they've got better food production, so I might keep them alive as farmers. So if there's a planet which has farming, I might keep them on such planets. But these other planets, I might just exterminate, because I think my race would be better. I think, yeah. So you can't actually transport. Oh, whoops. You can't. Well, you can't send the last population from the planet, but you also can't transport conquered workers. So once they assimilate, I can move them around. so I might do things that way. Okay, let's see what happens. I'll attack this first. See if they've got better technology. Now they have Disruptor, that's great. But still low beam attack, so I'm not too worried. Zortrium armor, 400 health per building. So I'm going to go ahead and wait, see what happens. Yeah, so if this thing actually hits, that's very bad for me. A heavy disruptor will do 60 damage each. And that thing has 6 of them. This thing has 1. So I've got 7 potential 60 damage shots coming at me. And my class 3 shield will reduce the damage a little bit and make it 57. So I'm just going to sit back. Okay, doing some pretty good damage with this. Once again, I'm going to abuse the fact that I've got good beam attack with heavy weapons, of course. This is a really good demonstration of why the heavy modification is important. Because now I can just sit back here and just chip away at this thing. Yeah, still not hitting with anything, which is very good for me. One more shot. Okay, we took out the fighter garrison, so we're down to ground batteries now. So this planet had 2 buildings on it, and I think it's either random or the buildings are destroyed in reverse order of when they were constructed. So if he built the ground batteries first, then the fighter garrison, I think maybe it destroys the fighter garrison first. Or it's just random, I don't actually know. I've never been able to figure that out. So that's unfortunate. I don't really care about the fighter garrison, it's not a threat. This ground batteries, the 6 heavy disruptors, is the main thing I need to be worried about. I'll use my point defense mass drivers to destroy their projectiles. Just going to let those missiles hit me, because they're not going to do much damage. Okay, good. Oh, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. I should have shot this thing. Don't actually know how much damage these bombers would do, but I don't want to find out, so... There we go. And now I can just finish off the starbase. So the humans' main problem right now is their lack of beam attack. They just can't do anything. As you can see, my ships can just sit back and abuse my ships have got good beam attack. That's why I got positronic computer, and I can just really abuse that. Here we go again. So a bit of a wave of guys there. That's how you do it in the 36th century. Like I said, interstellar empires, and we're just sending waves of marines with guns. Pretty funny. So I'm actually going to just let them assimilate. They will assimilate quite fast. One of my racial abilities is... Oh, they didn't attack. Okay. Now they're retreating, because I think they've got iridium fuel cells. But now... Yeah, because I took this star. Their closest star is 12 parsecs away, so they have to retreat. They could have still attacked, but... Unless they captured the planet, they'd have to retreat immediately after that. Oh, I forgot to talk to these guys. Ah, okay. So the Bullrathi are repulsive. So that's the opposite of charismatic. Here it is here. They can't make any agreements or exchange technology or anything like that. So when I go audience with them, these are the only options. Keep popping these spies into here. Just going to leave a ship behind. pretty straightforward combat seas ones because I can just sit back and shoot. But it's only a matter of time before they update their technology and then they'll become a serious threat, so I shouldn't get too comfortable. Holo simulator, very nice. I think, yeah, my food production is, there we go, there's that fleet I was worried about before. If I can get there, not 2 turns away. So what I'm going to do is just build, just going to buy a Corvette if possible. No, don't have enough money. So I'm going to design a destroyer now. Just do this real quick. Now I'm mainly going to give it weapons to target their projectiles. Because once I take those out, the rest of their weapons don't really do much. And again, I'm happy to take my time here in clearing their planets because of the fact just gonna get some more freighters here real quick. Oh, I also need to build these holo simulators. Once you get into the late game, it can get a bit tedious having to go through and do this every time you get a new building. I guess you don't technically have to do it, but it's quite suboptimal if you don't, especially the holo simulator. So that'll take care of the food issue. Do need a few more freighters though, I think. Oh, whoops. Now I'm going to send all but this guy to this place. So I mainly want to use this guy because he's got the commando ability. Yeah, here we go, they did attack. I have Disruptor now. So, yeah, it's funny the way that works. Because I think in between turns, at the end of the turn, I gained the technology, either through spies, it's probably through spies, and then the combat occurs. So even though it hasn't shown me yet that I've gained Disruptor, I can see it, like the starbase is automatically equipped with the best weapons. So I now have Disruptor, which is really nice. Which is going to make my range situation, well, I'll have to refit my ships with it, but this thing is like it's like a super mass driver. It's damage, yeah, damage not reduced by range, so sitting back and firing will be even better than it was before. Just gonna wait, see what they do. Okay. Gonna split up my interceptors, 5 here and 5 here. Then I'm gonna shoot the middle ship. Okay, we missed. 150 beam attack, but still missed. It does happen. I'm just gonna sit here with this guy. So the combat round just ended, so everything moved. Got some missiles, and they've got their bombers. Just gonna wait again. Okay, now they're shooting the starbase. Gonna try shooting something else this time. Something that has less beam defense. There we go. Also just gonna wait with that guy. Problem with these disruptors though is that I only have one heavy disruptor and one normal disruptor, so I can't do much to destroy these projectiles. Do have 14 point defense lasers though, which are also continuous, no range dissipation, and auto fire. So these 16-point defense lasers should destroy a bunch of these bombers. Okay, not as good a result as I was hoping for. Starbase is about to blow up. Gonna use these, try and destroy that. So those bombers are going to be pretty devastating to my planet there. Yeah, I'm not really sure which way this is going to go. They're not doing much damage with their beam weapons to the planet, so maybe it'll be okay. The bombers will fly back, the ones that survive, that is. They'll fly back and then they'll relaunch. Okay, I lost the starbase. I think that's all the bombers gone now. In hindsight, I probably should have focused the interceptors a bit more. I expected them to do a little bit better than this. So I'm going to do that right now. So this salvo of interceptors should, I think, take this guy out. Hopefully he doesn't explode and destroy all my interceptors. That is a possibility there. Okay, and that's exactly what happened. So just then I raided. I probably should have explained that a bit better. But I raided it, which destroyed the ship drive, and then that caused that giant explosion. So probably not a smart move on my part. And now they have tractor beam as well. So I really made a mess of that, I think. I might still be able to salvage it though. This guy's immobile. The ships are pretty weak now, so they're not doing much damage to me either, so these interceptors might be able to finish off these two ships. Okay, there we go. Very, very close. Very, very close. And he's just going to stay there and die for some reason. It probably couldn't have got any closer than that. Apologies, I wasn't talking very much. I was a bit focused on trying to make sure I won that. Especially after I think I made some mistakes at the start, a few tactical errors. So I should have, I think, focused the interceptors. I was expecting them to do a bit more damage, so that's why I tried to split them up. But then I focused, I split them up. It did some damage to those battleships, but didn't actually do enough to really put a stop to them. And then raiding that battleship, which was immobile, I was hoping it would just destroy it, but it actually caused it to overload, which can happen sometimes when you raid. I probably could have tried to capture it instead, and that wouldn't have happened. But because it was immobile, maybe raiding it was the right choice, because when the computer's ships are immobile and you have a ship nearby, they'll actually self-destruct to stop you from capturing them. So I think that big explosion would have happened anyway, regardless of what I did. So maybe I'm being a little bit hard on myself there. I'm not going to attack this, not with one battleship against those defenses. There you go. It's disruptor. So any new ships I build, I'll give them disruptors. Ooh, okay. This is quite a good leader, and he's pretty high level as well, because we're 233 turns into the game. So it gives me a technology. This is automatic repairing of ships after combat. Engineer actually repairs all ships each turn in the entire fleet during combat. It's extremely good, 15%. So that gives your ships the ability to regenerate the entire fleet. So it's very, very good. And then ordnance makes the weapons do more damage, so that's also very, very good. So if I had a heavy disruptor that does 60, this would make it do, I think 75, so very high damage. Okay, Sakura wants cybersecurity link, and there's no way I'm going to give him that. This planet barely survived. Let's get the starbase back up and running. So I lost the starbase, so I have to rebuild it, of course. And now I'm building holo simulators across the board. Let's go ahead and design the next battleship. I'm going to still use some neutron blasters a little bit. I'm going to change my mass drivers to just auto fire instead of point defense. I'm going to keep a couple of neutron blasters just for killing marines. Just makes it easier to capture ships. There we go. That'll do, I think. It's a pretty good result there at this place. Very, very close fight there. I think the fighter garrison on the planet only had maybe 20 health left. But the computer's ships in this particular game, or from this particular race, they're not the best designed ships. Like, they're very reliant on those bombers running in and delivering their payload. As you saw, it took out my starbase in pretty much one foul swoop. But if those bombers don't connect, that's pretty much it. So they don't have much staying power outside of that. So that's why I made that destroyer, to target the bombers. But a lot of them still got through. Would have preferred to have a cruiser instead. But I think I got pretty lucky there, honestly. I could have done it a bit better, but I still got very lucky, so all worked out. So we're now at war once again, even though this was intended to be a more diplomatic game, and for the most part I think it has been a pretty diplomatic game, but as you can see there, the humans hate me for reasons unknown, which I'm fine with, because now I can just take all their technology, take their planets, because I do need a little bit of a boost. Also keeps the game interesting, because it can be a little bit boring just sitting in the corner, so I don't mind getting my hands dirty. And so far it's going pretty well. So I was a little bit worried when that fleet of battleships just appeared out of nowhere, but all those trade treaties and building up all that money, that's why I don't necessarily spend the money just because I can, because that situation arose and I had enough money to buy a battleship and a cruiser outright, and that deterred their attack. Otherwise I probably would have lost probably only one of these, or I got captured. Probably we would have been captured. I could always capture it back, but it still would have been a setback. So crisis averted, and now I have this opportunity to steal this technology and to take over these planets. And then I should be in a pretty good position after that. Let's take a look at the graphs. Population, now I'm ahead of the Sakra. Buildings, well, pretty good, I would say. Fleet, Bulrathi is extremely powerful. Human really fallen down because they're fighting me and they lost a lot of battleships. Sakra's still up there. Trilarian pretty powerful as well. And then of course tech, I'm really far behind. This isn't necessarily something to worry about though, because this will include all tech. I'm guessing this is research points worth of tech. I'm not 100% on that. But total technologies, because they share so much technology, they all kind of move together. Whereas I'm not sharing, so I'm just kind of lagging behind here a little bit, which is kind of realistic. Like if you trade, then you both get stronger, right? If you don't trade, then you know you might fall behind. So there it is. I'm not worried though, because again, I'm gonna use these spies, and then yeah, we'll see what we can. See if we can actually win this. And if I can't win, no big deal. Sometimes it's good to lose a game here or there, because if you just won all the time, then that's no fun, right? I'll keep playing it until the end. And yeah, but for now, I'm going to pause it there. Hope you enjoyed, and see you next time.